So, good evening, all. You all are welcome to late Professor N.R. Kamath Memorial Lecture. First of all, I request Dr. Girish Nagarkar, President of Color Society, Professor P.A. Mahanwar, and Shri Shivaji Durgavale ji to escort speaker on dais.
I request Professor A.P. Pandit to take a seat on dais, please.
So I request Dr. Girish to welcome today's speaker Shri Manu Ahuja, CEO and Director of Jubilant Agri and Consumer Products Limited, with bouquet of flower. Now I request Professor Mahanwar sir to welcome Professor Pandit, Vice Chancellor of ICT Mumbai, with bouquet of flower. Now I requested Dr. Girish Nagarkar, Color Society President, to present welcome address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you wholeheartedly to this event. We are here today to commemorate our beloved late Professor N.R. Kamath, who was an academic leader, historian of technology, and founder of the Color Society. He was very fondly called as NRK, and he was born on September 8, 1914. He was student of first batch of BSc Tech in 1934. He did research in UK during the World War II and came to India in 1946. Then he joined UDCT as a faculty. There he founded the Department of Paints, Pigments and Varnishes, what's called as PPV, and he served as the head of PPV. Professor Kamath taught several chemical engineering courses and developed and taught a course on economics of chemical industry. So you can imagine the foresight he had during those days. We salute him for his contributions to the academia and the industry. In his remembrance, every year we invite eminent speakers on this day for the memorial lecture. And today we are very fortunate to have Mr. Manu Ahuja, CEO and Director, Jubilant Agri and Consumer Products Limited, as today's speaker. I warmly welcome Mr. Ahuja. I also welcome Professor Pandit. My warm welcome to all the past presidents of Color Society, Dr. Saman, Dr. Tipanna, and all the office bearers, students, and audience. Thank you very much.
Now I request Professor Pandit to give a speech.
Today's speaker, Shri Manu Ahuja, Professor Mahanwar, other office bearers of the Color Society, my old friends, Prashant, R.N. Jagtap, and all the faces which are very familiar to me. Now, in past 2 days, this is the second N.R. Kamath related event which I am attending. Yesterday, we had a meeting where an award in his name has been instituted in ICT, and it is called as N.R. Kamath Book Award. Anyone who has written book, who is an ICT alumni or ICT faculty, is eligible for that. I will request Tipanna to leave a copy of one book. I could not get a copy because I returned that copy to you, or it was taken to the library. We could not trace it. I need a copy of that book, otherwise we also would have been considered this year, but we'll consider you next year. The point which I am trying to make is, many people do not know that N.R. Kamath also was Professor M.M. Sharma's master's supervisor. As a result of which, Professor M.M. Sharma also has very fond memories of N.R. Kamath, and he held Professor Kamath in the high respect. And some of his batchmates and classmates came together to institute this particular award. Now, this award was started after the death of N.R. Kamath's wife, Rosanna Kamath, through an endowment which was supplemented by many. But this Color Society organized N.R. Kamath Memorial Lecture has always been a calendar event in ICT's calendar which people look forward to. Because every year we have a person with eminence because of the involvement of Professor N.R. Kamath in multiple areas of chemical sciences. You pick up any area and you would find that he or his students in turn have contributed to that particular area. So we always have something which relates to late Professor N.R. Kamath. So I am very happy that Mr. Manu Ahuja has come today to give this talk, and I welcome him to ICT. Jubilant has also been associated with ICT in multiple ways. I still remember when I used to visit Delhi anytime, along to visit Mr. Shambang, and then either going to Gajraula or coming back from Gajraula, he used to wait there, and he always used to feed me with Domino's pizza, because Domino's was at that time controlled by Jubilant. Today also. So I have a very fond interactions and memories of Jubilant, and I'm very glad that somebody from there has come here to represent his organization as well as coming and presenting their viewpoint, a very important viewpoint looking at the title, to ICT students. So I would like to welcome you all as ICT Vice Chancellor to this Professor N.R. Kamath Memorial Lecture, and I am sure you will all enjoy this and go back enriched with some additional knowledge information, as was pointed out by Mr. Nagarkar, where whether it is economics, whether it is science, whether it is technology, N.R. Kamath's contribution cannot be ignored. So let us all enjoy the talk and learn more, because that is what UDCT / ICT is all known about. Learn, and practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Pandit, for great memories about N.R. Kamath. Now I request anybody from audience to share the memories with Professor N.R. Kamath. Okay. So now I request Professor Mahanwar to announce the names of 3 toppers of diploma in pen technology and diploma in ink technology.
Good evening. Good evening. It's a really great privilege to be here with such a great personalities on the dais, as well as most of the past president. I think Deshmukh sir is there, Prashant is there, Narkhade is there, Dr. Tippanna, then Hullalkar. So many past presidents, and this is a tradition of the Color Society. For any of the Color Society program, many past presidents stated that they will attend the program. And one of the presidents who never missed the N.R. Kamath Memorial Lecture is Dr. Samant. He never missed a single N.R. Kamath Memorial Lecture by now. I hope this must be 27th N.R. Kamath Memorial Lecture. So I think henceforth we will maintain this particular tradition. As we know, Color Society offers 2 diploma courses, which are part-time courses, evening courses. That is, one is diploma in pen technology, and another diploma in printing technology. This year we had 15 enrollments in this diploma in pen technology and 20 enrollments in diploma in ink technology. and we had exams, and there are 3 toppers from each branch where we announced some prizes, and we felicitate these students who ranked first, second, third. So I think the student must have been informed and they must be there. So I'll announce the names reverse way, third one first and then accordingly. So very first diploma in pen technology. Before that, I will request today's speaker to do the honors of presenting the certificate to the students. Very first from diploma in pen technology, Ms. Saili Chaudhary. Datta, काढून दे. Second, Mr. Bhavesh Chandrakant Tambe. Certificate काढून दे. And the person who topped in this particular diploma is Mr. Pradeep Tambe. Pradeep, congratulations. Others also, congratulations. The next is diploma in ink technology. Third number, Mr. Duncan Negwa Nekte. He is from Uganda, so he is not available presently. We offer this course online, diploma course. So we had some foreign students also. Second number, Mr. Keshav Sharma. Keshavji. Okay, and the first one, Miss Manisha Arun Kumar Gupta. Manisha? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And congratulations once again, all the winners. Thank you. And now may I request Sanket to take over.
So now I request Shri Durgavale to introduce the speaker, Shri Manu Ahuja.
Good evening, everyone. Today it is my great pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Manu Ahuja. Shri Manu Ahuja ji is the CEO and whole-time director of Jubilant Agri and Consumer Products Limited. He has been with Jubilant for the last 5 years. JSCPL is a part of the Jubilant Bhartiya Group, a global conglomerate with strong presence in diverse sectors like consumer and agri, products and performance polymers. Shri Manu Ahuja ji joined the Jubilant from Asa Abloy Asia Pacific, the world's largest supplier of lock and security solution, where he served as the president for India and Southeast Asia for more than 7 years and oversaw the operation in 18 countries. In his previous assignment, he has worked with Compaq, Whirlpool, AkzoNobel, and Madura Coats. He holds an MBA in Marketing and Finance from Excel RI Jamshedpur and a bachelor degree in Electronics Engineer from Thapar Institute of Engineering, Patiala. So today he will speak on the most important topic, what makes a successful business. So please welcome Shri Ahuja ji.
Thank you. Extremely honored to be here and see some bright young faces in this room, and brings back old memories when I was in an engineering college. I was telling Prashant that I didn't know that ICT is the erstwhile UD city. And when I was preparing for my engineering entrance, I remember it was like a holy grail of chemical technology, UD city. And it was like almost impossible to get into this institute from where I was. And it was, I think, equivalent to, of course, the IITs when it came to chemical technology. I didn't understand too much chemistry then, so I decided not to pursue chemical engineering. Not that I didn't understand anything about electronics also, but still. It sounded nice to be an electronics engineer, so I went for that. So I think UDCT had, it was the holy grail in the sense that it was extremely aspirational to get here. And I'm proud and honored to be here today and trying to tell you something about, a little bit about what I think I know. When Prashant told me that, why don't you come here to the Color Society and talk about something, I said, listen, I run a chemical company, but I had no idea about what chemical technology is all about. So what can I speak to the stalwarts about chemical technology? So he said, no, it's not required to speak anything about chemistry and chemical technology. Whatever you know, you can talk about. I said, then it sounds fine, then I don't mind. And whatever little I know and or I claim to know is about running businesses, which is what I've done all my life for the last more than 30 years. And I will attempt to tell you about my experiences, about what is it to run a business. You guys are extremely intelligent, sharp people, and some of you will grow up to become more business managers and might want to run businesses. A lot of you will remain in the academia, and some of the stalwarts and the extremely erudite people that I'm meeting here today would like to pursue that profession. But whatever it is, I hope some of these thoughts can be a bit of a learning or some aspiration for some of you. Right? And before I start, I would also like to clarify that I have nothing to do with Domino's, and I am not expected to give you free pizzas and all that. Right? So don't expect anything of that sort happening. And personally, I'm not a pizza fan in any case, and I love to have the Mumbai Vada Pav. And if Prashant had told me there's going to be good Vada Pav here, I would have had the Madras Cafe Dosa outside this college. So great being here. I love this part of Mumbai. It gives you the old world charm, old world feel, the real Mumbai. So I think it's great to be back here. So without much ado, I will try and attempt to tell you a bit more about what it means to run a successful business. Usually, I am not a fan of presentations, and I prefer to have a chat with people and what they want to know, if they have any questions. That's my preferred style, but didn't want to throw caution to the winds, so I did prepare something simple, something generic. It is the usual gyan, so don't get... Okay, so I was saying I'm not much of a fan... Put it in my pocket. I'm not a fan of presentations, and I prefer more impromptu conversations with people and more chats. So I would prefer if anybody has any questions, anything they want to ask, I'm happy to talk more about it. But as I said, I didn't want to throw caution to the winds, and still prepared something so that I have some anchor to talk about. I'm also a firm believer of stories, right? So it's important to have a story in your life. Without a story, you are kind of a bit lost. So I believe that all of us have stories, and all of us should create stories in our life which are meaningful, which have an impact on society or your atmosphere or the kind of organization or your institution you are in. One of the first things I ask people when I interview them who want to come and join our organization is, what is your story? So what is that you've done in life, and what have you brought new to the table? What is your mantra and what is your story? I think that's very important, and that also helps you in building a successful business. So while I will tell you about some of the theoretical stuff about running a business, but all this has been a part of my journey in building successful organizations, and that's what I have followed to the T, what I'm going to talk about. So I will relate some of these thoughts to an actual story which I have managed to be a part of, which is my previous role. I can't talk about too much about this company because we are a listed company, And I can't tell you too much stories about this right now because we can't share absolute inside information in public. But I will definitely tell you more about my previous job, which was a Swedish company, where I was the head of the India and Southeast Asia region. I was based in Singapore, and I oversaw 18 countries. That's a story which sounds okay, but what really went through that whole journey about building that business is what I would like to relate to each one of you when I go through some of these slides. Okay, so it's all about that. So I'll start with that. When I joined that company, I was recruited in India, and they wanted me to be a part of this organization. So when I went for the interview, I couldn't even pronounce the name of the company. And I said, I went there because the consultant told me go and meet them. And when I said, okay, I'll go and go and ask them what this company is all about, I realized that I was going to be the first employee in India, or a manner of speaking, to join the company. So there was virtually zero business, right? So I asked myself, why should I join a company where I can be the first employee and there's no sales? And when they asked me that you're going to be the first employee of this company and we want you to set up the India operations, so I listened to them and I went back to my house and asked a lot of people, is it worth working for a company which has got nothing in this country and you're going to be starting from scratch? And I was very well set in a paint company in India. I was doing a good job in ICI Paints, which was a Dulux brand, if some of you know, have heard of that. So I asked myself, why should I go there and work? And everybody I spoke to told me, you must be out of your mind to go and work for them. You have a good business going, everything is fine. Why would you want to work for a company which might be world leaders, but you're almost nothing in this country and also in the region, very, very small sales. And that's the fundamental question I asked myself. Do I have the ability to build a successful business? So far, I have worked in companies which had a business. I made them better, hopefully, right? But do I have the ability to create a business from scratch? And will that help me build a better story for myself and for the organization? And the answers to both were yes. I had to build a story for myself, for the organization, and for the people around me, and create an impact. And this was an opportunity for me to do it. And I said yes to that job. And when I joined the company, I was the first employee. And when I came in, I didn't know, because my boss was Swedish. He had never been to India itself. And I went and looked for first day when I was going to office. So my wife asked me, where's your office? I said, I don't know, because there is no office. And believe me, I went and picked up my bag and I looked for a business center to make my first office. So it took me a week to find a business center, and that was my first office. And my first employee was a secretary I hired from Nokia that time, and she came and joined me, and she left me within a week. And because in the exit interview I took from her, she says, I'm not comfortable sitting in an office all alone with a guy who's also staring up in the sky and he has no work to do. So I'm not sure this is the place I want to be, right? So that's how we started building the business. And then I hired a head of India, and within 6 months, the guy was known to me, and within 6 months he came to me, he said, Manu, I think I know you personally for many years. I have deep respect for you, but unfortunately I have to leave. I said, why? He said, because there is no story here. There's nothing's going to happen. This business is not going to go anywhere. Right? It's a very tough business. Godrej Locks is the leader in India, and you can't even sell one lock here. It's impossible to create anything in this business. I said, fine, I'll think about it, but good luck to you, but I plan to stay here for some more time. And that's when I decided to build the business properly and build a successful business. So that's the story I'm creating here. And what I'm going to tell you now is actually what I did and me and my team did to create a story in India. So I'm not putting figures for that company. I'll tell you later what really happened, from where we started and where we ended up with. But this is exactly what we did, right? So this is a real life story, guys, without any names, without any pictures. but it'll help you relate to what it is to build a successful business. Any questions so far? Yeah. Feel free to interrupt me, interject, have any questions. I prefer a free-flowing conversation. I'm not a person of rigor and process. Yes?
So what made you stay in the company?
Because I told you I had to build a story. So if I didn't build it, I had to give it a shot. And you have to give it your best before you give up. I don't believe in giving up. So I tell my team, it's best to die in the field than to sit in an office and think that you can't succeed and die there. So that's what I did. I said, no, I'm going to create a story for myself. I was dead certain. And there's an opportunity in everything, I feel. Yes? Yes.
The reason for your changing the job, was it to come out of the comfort zone?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I had achieved something and I had created a story there, which is a different point, and we had taken share from the market leader. I won't name the company, the market leader paint company. I don't like to take names, as I said. But we had taken significant market share from them in my previous role in ICI Paints. And we had created a story there as well. So I was getting into my comfort zone. And I wanted to see whether I can really create something from nothing. Absolutely zero. So earlier you have a brand, you have a story, you have a product range, you have R&D, you have innovation. So you build on that, right? But when you have nothing, what do you do? So that's a bit challenging, right? So that's how we did it. All right, so I think the first thing, yes?
Have you thought of backup or impact of if
If
it doesn't work?
it doesn't work, I don't let those thoughts normally come to me, right? They do come, but I shoo them away. Because if you start getting into that mode, then you start to make plan B and plan C and plan D. In my book, there's no plan B and plan C. There's only plan A. And you have to execute and make it happen. Right? So it's very personal. A lot of people will tell you have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. Right? If the plan A doesn't work after trying everything, and you go through the rigor of saying that you've ticked every box and still doesn't work, then you create a plan B. Yep. Okay. I think the first thing in any business, for running a successful business, or for yourself as a brand, as a chemical technologist or an excellent professor or a business manager, is to first create a vision for yourself. What is your vision? How do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years later? Or what do you foresee of the organization you work for? I think creating a vision, a compelling vision, is a starting point for creating a successful business or a successful person or a successful empire, anything. So don't think it's only about business, it's about you as a person, as an individual, as a brand. Important to have that vision, right? I think what it does is, it helps you connect the dots. It helps you put some things in perspective, right? Now, if you don't have a vision, you are usually not guided properly. Of course, the vision has to be, rooted in reality. Right? If you're somebody here sitting in this room and you have a vision to become the best ad marketer in the world after doing this, maybe it's not a vision which is absolutely appropriate. Nothing is impossible, but you can't have visions which are not rooted in reality. You need to have a vision because that guides you for the future. It inspires commitment, it inspires decision making, it inspires you to drive something in a different way. Right? So, I mean, a lot of this is jargon, what is written here, but what I would like to you to embrace this thought that it's important to have a vision here. Right? So, I will relate to this, the company I joined previously. When I joined, and after 6 months of struggling in the business, after having not been able to find the right leadership team under me to be able to, put the whole business together, it took me almost 8 months before we could even create a basic team with us. I think the first thing which was lacking in that time, those 6-8 months, I did not create a vision. Because if you don't have a vision, how do you sell the story to somebody else, right? So what I did personally, I sat down, looked at the entire market and said, this is where we are. This is the entire market. This is the battlefield. These are our competitors. Where do you think, and I looked at our internal capabilities, our organization, there was hardly any organization in India, but there was a global organization. What are their strengths? What are the opportunities here? Who are the competitors? What are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? And with that context in mind, I created a vision for the company. So let me give you some numbers. When I joined, our total revenue in the business was around, including the 18 countries that I was looking after, was around 70 crores. And India was zero out of that, right? So I created a vision, and we were obviously, the market size was maybe 10,000 crores or something like that, or 8,000, we were almost zero, right? So I said, what is going to be our vision? And we were obviously the last number in the whole industry. So I created a vision that we will, in 5 to 10 years, between 5 and 10 years, anywhere between that, we will aspire to be the top 3 players in the region. Now, coming from zero, you had to create a vision, right? Now, whether that vision was realistic or not, I'm not sure at that point in time, but it had to be compelling. If you're going to hire somebody under you and you tell him that I have zero sales today, in 5 years from now, I will double the sales. From 70 crores, you'll go to 140 crores. Is it aspirational? Maybe not, when the market size is 10,000 crores. It's not aspiration. So it's not a compelling vision. So I created a vision saying that we will become either number 1 or number 2 or number 3 in this industry in the whole 18 countries put together in between 5 and 10 years. So then it started making sense with people, because it's not you can become a market leader overnight. It'll take you some time. It's not that you have to become 10 times the size or 5 times the size. You have to become either number 1, number 2 or number 3, right? Because the number 1 in the region was maybe 2,000 crores. Okay? So anyway, so that's how we set the vision. As they say, where there's no vision, and you can see for yourself in your organization, when you deal with your professors, they tell you, they give you a vision, they tell you a story. They're not giving you from one class to the other to the other. They tell you in 1 year or 4 years from now, this is what you will achieve. This is what you can aspire to be, right? So they create a vision for you. Once you've created a vision for yourself, I think it's extremely, extremely important to hire people under you or with you who have the ability to share a common vision with you. Right? People who can relate to your vision, people who understand you, and people who have the same aspiration like you have. If you're going to have a vision of becoming the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 in the region after 5 to 7 years, and somebody who comes with a cynicism saying that, listen, I want to work for your company, but I'm not sure you will succeed, would you want to hire him? Highly unlikely. Because when that person whom I knew, who got into the job because he knew me, and he came back to me and said after 6 months, listen Manu, I don't think this is a place which is ever going to make it, I realized immediately that this is a guy who doesn't relate to my vision. So hence, it was better to let him go than to keep him and try and convince him to be a part of the vision. So getting the right leadership team, the leaders under you, because you can't reach out to everywhere, right? You have to create a team which succeeds with you and who make magic happen. So it's important to get that kind of leadership team which aligns to your vision in a complete sense. So what we did in that organization, after having lost that guy, then I started about putting that whole vision together in a proper way, and started looking at people and telling them a story on how this was possible, how we could achieve the vision, how is it aspirational, and it gives them goosebumps to make that vision into reality. And people started buying into the story, and people started relating to the story, and that's how you build a team which is completely aligned to your vision, a team which will take the success and the failure in its own stride and say that yes, we are a team together, and now we will create that vision into reality. It took me a long time to do it. It took me almost a year more to get the right set of leaders under me. Even after 1 year, all the people were not perfect. You had to go through a churn. And that churn continued till the last day I was in the organization, but by and large, you get it right after a year and a half or so. But till the time you're there with a vision and a proper leadership team, you cannot even start. You can't start. So to give you a sense, I was in that organization for 7 years. From the time I joined in January 2011, by the time I got my basic leadership team in place, who was committed to the same vision as mine and aligned to it, it took me till the end of December 2013. So it took me almost 2 years to get that organization, the leadership together. Business had started, but not in the right way, in the way it could be scaled up. Right? So that's the second mantra of building a successful business. What it means is, it fosters a unity, and I've talked about this, it fosters unity and strategic direction. It inspires confidence in the teams under them, because they are the ones who have to lead the teams under you, right? Because you cannot be leading everybody in the organization. The leadership team has to be the anchor. They have to speak your language. They have to also, they have to kind of challenge you all the time. They have to revise the vision, but they are fundamentally aligned with you in every aspect, right? And this is really the key to sustained excellence in the organization. Leadership is the capacity to, and really well said here, is the one which translates the vision into reality. Okay, so what do? You have created a damn good vision. You've created a good leadership team. Now what do? Right? I think what then you need to put together is how will you make that vision into reality? What it really means is, what is your strategy to make that vision happen? Strategy is great. It's a great sounding word, but what strategy really means is what you do and where you do and why you do. Right? That really is simple in meaning of strategy. Strategy can be for passing an exam, to going to the next level, or crossing the street, going to a nearby park, or to building a business. It's all basically about strategy. How will you do it? Where will you do it? And why will you do it? These are the fundamental questions about building a strategy. And these three questions really encompass almost everything in this world, for that particular business, for your particular situation, wherever you are in. What it really means then is, when you answer these questions, what, where, and why, what it really means is, how are you building a differentiated strategy versus some of your peers, some of your competitors, and who else is there in the whole organization, in the whole ecosystem. So creating a differentiated strategy is extremely important for your success. Let's say if you are a student, and all of you are, I don't know which year you guys are in, but if you're final year students, you're all aspiring to be getting into some jobs or some next level of education. There are hundreds of you competing for the same job. But you have to differentiate yourself to a potential employer by having a differentiated vision and a strategy for yourself. You cannot go and tell the employer that I have passed out from ICT and I have done my chemical engineering, hire me. They won't, and you know it. But if you tell them that I have mastered the art in this way, in a certain way, and I have the ability to create unique solutions to various situations, then the guy sits up and listens to you. Yes, here's a person who is differentiated, and I want to hire him. The same is truth about the business. You have a product range, you have a business, but what is so unique about that business? So creating a differentiated strategy helps you building a successful business. What it does is gives you a competitive edge. Just to give you an example, a very quick one, we put a strategy in the lock business that time. All of you, I'm sure, use mechanical locks, Godrej locks and all that, right? And we were the ones who started selling digital locks the first time in India. And I was insistent that we will start selling very expensive locks because they are digital, they are biometric, they give convenience to customers, and they will see us as a differentiated player. The entire team members of mine, including my leadership, told me that I've gone nuts, I've gone bananas, there's nothing going to work. The average price of a Godrej lock in the country was 2,500 or 3,000 rupees, and I was talking about selling a 35,000 rupee lock in the country. 35,000 rupees. And people told me, you've gone mad. There's no way this business is going to work. It's not that we were not going to sell the 4,000 rupee lock. We were going to sell that as well. But we had to differentiate ourselves by putting our brand at a premium and telling the world that here's a company which has the ability to sell great products at crazy prices, but the value they give to the consumer are just incredible. So I personally led the whole delegation. There's a big builder in Delhi called DLF. I don't know if somebody has heard of it. Right? It's a big builder. And we sold them the first 1,000 locks in the country ever. Ever. And the house I stay in DLF today, I stay in Gurgaon in DLF, has the same lock which I sold them in 2011 or 2012. I don't remember which year. Right? Because we sold them a benefit. We sold them that you are going to differentiate your products in the market versus a Godrej lock. So sell that. And we had to sell them the vision, the differentiated strategy. And that's how we started building our business in the country. By positioning ourselves as a company which is highly innovative, has the ability to offer differentiated value to consumers, and has the ability to think out of the box. Of course, we were not going to sell millions of those because there's a limited market for all that, but it sets up the pace for you in the organization, in the whole industry. Yeah? So it reinforces brand identity, sustains growth through innovation, etc., etc. Right? These are some great examples. A simple commodity like salt, they created an innovation just through packaging. And that's how they started to sell the product. FedEx slogan was, wherever you want to deliver, we deliver it overnight. And it just took the world by storm. Same products, but they differentiated it. They created a differentiated strategy, an innovative strategy. And that's how you know where FedEx is today in the world. They're the world leaders. But it's all about thinking very, very differently. Okay, you created a vision. You created a great leadership team. You created a strategy, hopefully which is compelling and differentiated. Is that enough? No. That's just the beginning. What is most important after that is to define the culture of the organization, because now is the time. You created a strategy, you have a leadership team, now you have to start scaling up. You have to build a culture. And culture is a very vague term. Cultures, I'll give you examples of culture. If the lecture starts at 6:30 here in the hall, all the participants, all the audience comes and sits here at 6:25. There's another hall I go to, another chemical technology institution. The lecture supposed to start at 6:30, and people are grudgingly coming along. Somebody comes at 6:30, somebody 6:25, and people are coming in until 7 p.m. Which is a better culture? Obviously, the first one. So you build the culture from day one of you starting the organization. What you build today will last for a long, long time. If you build the culture which is not strong and focused and relevant to your business, it's going to bite you forever, because it's easy to change your vision, easy to change your strategy, not so easy to change your leadership team, but still can be done. The most difficult thing in an organization to change, the most, and ask me, I've done it many times, is to change the culture of an organization. So wherever you are in your business, in your personal agenda, wherever you are, make sure you set the culture right. Culture defines the future. You might have a great vision, a great differentiated strategy, and a great leadership team, very capable leadership team, but if they are steeped in a poor culture or an inefficient culture, you will find it very difficult to scale up. Extremely difficult. These are some of the examples of great culture. Thousands of books are written into it. Thousands of books on culture. But I can tell you, culture is nothing but walking the talk. If you believe in coming on time, you have to be the first one in that meeting. If you believe that hard work is extremely important, you have to be the most hardworking person in that organization. There can be nobody in the organization who works as hard as you. If you find somebody working more than 15 hours a day, you have to start working 16 hours a day. If somebody is working 16 hours a day, you have to start working 17 hours a day. Right? So culture is what you define. People will look at you for culture, not at a book. It's great to have these books which talk about culture, right? But as a leader, you define the culture. And culture resonates with everyone. It just permeates in the organization. It permeates at a very subconscious level. Nobody talks about it every day. Nobody talks about it every day. But people see around what's happening. Who's coming at what time? That guy is not performing well, but how did my boss react to him? He grew by 10%, I grew by 20%. At the end of the year, he got a 7% increment and I got a 9% increment. Is it better to grow by 20% or 10%? What's the answer? 10%. Difference in increment is only 2%. Why should I put that extra effort in the organization to give that extra growth when I'm just going to get 2% more? That's culture. Right? He took a risk in doing certain thing and he got hammered by the leader saying that why did you fail? You're creating a culture of fear. That is good not to take risks. There are no books written on culture like that, because culture is what you walk the talk. Right? And it's not only true for organizations, it's about true how you behave at home. Most of you don't have children, right? But when you have them, set that culture. They will watch you. Right? So I think, as they say, culture eats strategy for breakfast. You know what it means? Does everybody understand that? No? Okay. What it means is, we feel that strategy is very important, right? But what it means is, culture is far more important than strategy. It can have it for breakfast, they say. It can eat it up. You can have the best strategy, but if you don't have a great culture, it's all zero. That's what it means. Right? The lion eats a deer for his prey. Culture is the lion. Strategy is the deer. Okay? Okay, this is part of what I just said, differentiated strategy. Right? But I will emphasize the word innovation here. And you guys are experts in innovation. And okay, so I wouldn't say all of you are experts, but being chemical engineers and the brightest one in the country, what are you expected to do? To make the same compound or to create differentiated compounds? Differentiated compounds. Same compound, so anybody can make, right? So I was just talking to Dr. Girish, Dr. Girish. I was just having a very quick word with him here, and he told me, I run a polymer, I make specialty polymers. Now, that's a very cliched term. The world and their uncle in India make specialty polymers. So what's so great about, I asked Girish, what's so great about your specialty polymers? And we were having just a 2-minute conversation. I met him for the first time. So and because I'm wired like that in my mind, what is so great about, what is so differentiated about your products? Because what it tells me is, if he has differentiated products, he has a huge chance of success. If he doesn't have, then my God, he's going to be just another guy. And what did he tell me? That he makes differentiated polymers. He used the word differentiated. What it means is he makes innovative polymers, right? And that's when I felt that here's a guy who we could go to and work with him to make products for ourselves, to make differentiated final products. Will he succeed in eventuality? Most likely yes, because he's not run of the mill. He's innovating. And it's all at the end of the day about innovation. The world's best companies are the ones who continuously innovate. Continuously innovate. Right? And many, many examples. In my previous organization, as I'm talking about, we had a metric every quarter we had to monitor and present it to the global CEO. What is the percentage of your sales coming from innovative products? And we might be meeting our numbers, but if your percentage of innovation products are not up to the mark, we would be hammered. And we would be asked, what are you doing to improve your innovation? And one of the metrics I was measured on every time, how many R&D engineers do you have in your company? If you have less engineers, less than the financial accountants or the clerks in the organization, then you have a problem. But that is a starting point. And Prashant is our head of R&D in our current organization, and I tell him all the time, you have to get more people. But that's the starting point. More R&D engineers will mean more innovation, more work, because they can't be sitting idle. They have to innovate. Right? I feel this organizations like these are what this country needs. Unfortunately, a lot of you and us go abroad, but that's a different matter. But this is what the organization and the countries need to drive innovation, which is why US is still succeeding. US has no manufacturing, but it has innovation. Right? China is not that successful. It has scale, but it has less innovation. The countries and the businesses and the individuals who will succeed more are the ones who will innovate a lot. It boosts competitive edge, inspires creativity, and enables long-term success. And I think this is my favorite subject, and me and my Prashant, I spend 3 full days every month reviewing our innovation pipeline on every product, on every segment. And we do painstaking reviews on what are we doing to build innovative products, which will help deliver our differentiated strategy. Right? So I think this is really the heart of running a very successful business. Now I'm coming more to the lower order issues. Now, how do you really run the business on a day-to-day basis? So remember, we created a compelling vision. Then we put a very strong leadership team. We created a differentiated strategy. The culture, a very strong culture of very strong ethics and values in the organization. And we fostered a culture of innovation. Ye sab to kar liya. But is that enough to run the organization? Running the organization is far more complex than so far what has been done. So far what you've done the easy part. Creating a vision, you have the intellect, you'll create it. You have the charisma, you'll get the leadership team. Differentiated strategy, if you have enough intellect, you will do it. You'll create an innovation pipeline. But when the rubber hits the road, when you start to build a business, what does it really happen? You need a strong team, right? You need an army of people to deliver the business. That's where the cookie starts to crumble. That's when the problems start to come. People issues. Getting them, motivating them, letting them work. Why will anybody work for you all the time? One of the critical success factors I've realized over time, many years, it took me a hard way to do it, is to create a culture of empowerment. What does empowerment mean? Empowerment means finding a good leader, the best guy who's aligned to your strategy and vision, and then letting him free. Because he's intelligent enough to deliver the goods. But if you micromanage him every day, why did this not happen? Why did that not happen? I'm going to review this, I'm going to do that, and I will keep every control under me. He will feel suffocated. He has to feel empowered. It's like you as a student, if your professor is asking you 100 questions every day, आपने ये किया कि नहीं किया, ये किया कि नहीं किया, तो you will feel, let him then do it, right? What am I here for? Let me do my own job. All of us need that freedom to operate, that empowerment. Same as business leaders need that more than anybody else. So find good leaders, but empower them. If you get great leaders and you don't empower them, I can tell you it's a recipe for disaster. So my mantra always has been to have great leaders under me and then let them deliver the goods. Right, Prashant? So I tell Prashant, it's your job to run the R&D center for the company. You can do what you want. These are the broad guidelines. Now go and do it the way you want. How many times do we review you, Prashant, every day? I don't give him a call, not even once in a month. He's my direct report. I mean, he's much senior to me in many ways, in intellect and creativity and innovation. I have deep respect for him, but officially I'm a supervisor. But I don't think I ever call him. Because he's empowered to deliver the goods. And that's when he will feel motivated to drive performance. And the same mantra, you do it with your key leaders, your key people. Right? It boosts team engagement, encourages innovation, brings more accountability. Right? So these are some of the important things we need to deliver in a business. You give up. When you empower people, you give up control. Right? It's like passing every bill every day, but you're letting your leader pass the bills on his own. Right? But you're giving up some power. All of us need power all the time. Giving up power is very difficult. But what it does is, it empowers the other person. And he delivers the goods for you. While you empower people, but you cannot be away from the business, because ultimately it's your accountability. You have to deliver the goods as the final leader of the company. How do you do that? You empower people, you let them make their own decisions, but you do have a strong review mechanism, which is at regular intervals, but not every day, not every minute. So you review the important metrics, you have a balanced scorecard approach, you look at the key metrics every day or every month or every quarter, when you review it, so that you know what's happening in the organization. And if something is falling, you know where the cracks are. And then you go and fix the cracks faster than you can imagine. If you don't review it, and if you only empower people, then when things are going wrong, you don't know what's happening. And once the shit hits the ceiling, it's too late. And then you go around scrambling for fixing things. By that time, competition has taken away your market share, some product has failed, some distributor has gone away to competition, some employee has resigned, some big product has been leaked, and you lose business. So it's important to have a great vision, a great leadership team, a differentiated strategy, a strong culture, a very strong culture of innovation, right? With an empowered team. But that empowered team should also be reviewed with a very strong process so that nothing falls between the cracks. Right? So I'm not going to repeat this. This is what I just spoke about. This is jargon, but I think it's extremely important. So my mantra always has been in business, whatever somebody comes and asks me, so I ask that fundamental question, can it be measured? If it cannot be measured, then don't talk to me about it. First, create a measurable measurable task around it, measurable metric, which can be then monitored and which can be reviewed. That's about a strong process and a review. So that's an extremely important thing about running a good business. And finally, it's about doing something absolutely flawless. Let's take the example of this lecture. You have a great memorial lecture, you have a great auditorium, you have a great faculty here, which means a great leadership. You have a vision of having this lecture every year, right? Everybody comes on time. It's a great culture. People are empowered to take decisions, right? They're also reviewed sometimes, regularly. But somehow, the execution is not flawless, which means the tea which you were giving outside was cold. The batata vada didn't come on time. The chairs here are broken. The flowers smell. Is that great execution? No. You've done everything all right, but you finally forgot how to execute it. Of course, if you had a great review process, it would get caught regularly, but you cannot underscore the importance of a world-class execution. To me, it comes in the end, but actually speaking, it is the most important thing in any organization. How do you really finally execute to the last detail? You can have a brilliant strategy, you can have a differentiated vision, but if you do not deliver your goods to your retailer or to your customers on time, you lost it. If Amazon in India started delivering goods in 10 days instead of 1 day, would you buy from Amazon? No? No way, right? Why? Why not? Because it's a great company, great vision, great leaders in the world, great strategy which is differentiated. They have a review system which you guys cannot imagine. But they did not deliver the parcel in 1 day. They delivered in 10 days. Is it a successful business? It is not. You did everything else right, but you forgot to execute it flawlessly. So guys, it's all about delivering that business in the most fundamental way and executing it to the last T, which means a culture of extremely high execution, a culture of high standards, a culture of meeting deadlines, a culture of continuous improvement, a culture of innovation. All this is a part of execution. How you deliver the last box to that consumer, to that retailer, or that thesis on time, or that assignment to your professor every day on time. You might be the most brilliant student in the class, but if you continuously fail to meet deadlines with your professor, you're not the best student anymore. Yes or no? You know it better than me. Because eventually, you will start failing. Even your professor will fail you. Unless, of course, you're Einstein or Oppenheimer or something, then maybe not. But those exceptions are there. But yeah, this is all jargon, but exactly what it means. Exactly what it means. One can steal ideas. You can have the best product, the great ideas. You can have an ease my trip versus make my trip. You can have another company, Myntra versus Amazon, or Flipkart versus Amazon. But whoever ultimately wins is the one who wins through execution. You will order through Flipkart if Amazon fails you. You couldn't be bothered whether Jeff Bezos is the Amazon chief in the world or not. What matters to you is the moment of truth, the moment of getting that parcel delivered in your house. And that's about running a successful business. Yep. So, So let me tell you what happened to that business, which I took over when the business was 70 crores, when I joined in Jan 2011. We were making a loss of 20 crores. We had, in the total region, we had around, I think, 25 employees, not 2-3 in India and something like that. When I left them in December 2017, 2018. When I left them in 2018, we were close to 1,000 crores with a 150 crore profit, with more than 1,000 employees, and we were the leader in the region, right? This is how we built that organization, through all these steps, consistently delivering it to the hilt, right? So that is what we created a story, and that's how we built a successful business. Thank you. Any questions? Feel free. Yes.
Sir, would you please elaborate your review process? What things you do in that?
Okay, so I think Prashant can tell more about it. How do we review? Okay, I can only tell you that they're very rigorous, and what we follow a system of consistency. Like we review, let's say, our innovation pipeline of products every month and the last week, so everybody knows that in this month I have a review on the 20th of September for my innovation pipeline. So one is consistency, right? Number two, we look at the same metrics month on month. So people get used to it and start to think in that way. Number three, we follow a very balanced scorecard approach. A balanced scorecard is a term, it's a management tool, which essentially means you break down every task into two parameters. One is the input and other is the output. Which means, let's say if you have to develop an innovative adhesive, right? Or let's say an innovative sealant, right? Delivering an innovative sealant is the output. The sales of the innovative sealant or adhesive is really the output. The input is the number of, let's say, experiments you did, the number of options you created to arrive at the final product, right? The relative performance you want to bring in the quality of that product relative to competition is the input to finally delivering a better adhesive or a paint, right? So you measure both the input metrics and the output metrics consistently in a regular interval. Once you start doing that and you review them regularly, the entire organization starts to think in that direction. And they're aligned to deliver the goods in a certain way. And that review rigorously drives that whole process and execution. Yep.
So 1 month you don't let them to discover like something, like you don't review them for the month, just at the end of the month you will review them.
Yeah, depends on the business or the function. We review with a certain regularity. So like innovation we do every month, sales we do every month, certain, let's say, manufacturing capability I will do once in a quarter, supply chain I will do once in 6 months. Depends on the criticality of the function. Yep.
Hello.
Yep.
You can share your views on sustainability.
Sustainability. Well, it's a very interesting and a very relevant topic, undoubtedly, and I think today no business can claim to say that I don't believe in sustainability, right? The larger vision of a sustainable environment and sustainable organization and the world, sustainable world, is known to all of us. So I'm not going to talk about that, right? But what it really means today is, in today's world and business, is that most consumers or customers are extremely aware of sustainability. Especially the younger generation are willing to partner with companies and buy products of companies which they feel are genuinely driving sustainability. So as a business leader, and I think for you to drive sustainability in a very innovative way and in a sustained way is becoming extremely essential to growing a successful business. right? To me, it's not a differentiating factor anymore. That's why I don't pick it up. I don't believe in it. I think 5 years ago, maybe it was. But today, I think it's become a necessity. If you're not building a sustainable organization, you are going to be conspicuous by the absence of it, and you're bound to fail. Right? So the sustainability whole thing is gaining huge momentum. And yes, I think depends on the category in which you operate. I think you have to endeavor to make your business as sustainable as possible, continuously going along. But whether it is today in India an absolute must to become a great business, yes and no, depending on the category you have. But if you don't do it, the chances of failure are very high. So it's more conspicuous by its absence now than by presence, if that answers your question. If you had asked me the question 2 years ago, I would have said it can be a differentiating factor, but not anymore. I think people know about it. Yes?
Hello, sir. I'm going to take 30 seconds to reach my question.
Sure. That's a lot. Anyway,
yeah.
carry on.
Just to be precise, being a first generation entrepreneur myself in the coating industry, lost it all in 5 years, then decided not to lose it in a rat race, let me differentiate myself and give it a last shot, then being successful for the next 5 years, going debt free, expanding. So today when I am a little, I would say a little, I'm successful in it now. I would say, how do I analyze? This is the question I ask myself daily. How do I analyze? What is the risk I can take now? Like you being yourself from a listed company, you know the word debt is a big thing and it can topple the share prices and the stakeholders. So how do you decide on the debt part? What is the debt that would be convincing? Like you say, okay, a year profits or 2 years profit or whatever. There was some formula for that.
It's a very good question actually, because I was grappling with this question today morning with my boss about, of course I can't share numbers with you, but exactly the same point. Whether should we raise debt because we have some growth ideas, and I was pondering with him whether should we raise debt or something, what should we do? And I think the answer came on its own, right? How the answer emerged was that you have to first create value in your own organization, right? If you have created adequate value in your organization, then you can partake with some debt, right? But first important thing is, have you created adequate value in your current organization? Have you got your fair share of your value? And when I asked that question, when we were talking in the morning, we realized that in our business, there's still enough value to be created before I go and take debt. If the answer there was yes and no, and we're kind of almost stretching ourselves, then I would have said, okay, let's either take more equity or dilute our equity or take debt. Then those are the options. But our first question was when we asked ourselves a fundamental question, have we reached what we had to reach? The answer is no. Then we said, let's first reach a level of our own competence. Let's create adequate value in the organization. And then we can choose within whether we should dilute some equity and take equity instead or take debt. Then it's an easier answer. But to be more specific in the answer which you're asking, if you think you've created enough value for the products that you've created, and you think the market's kind of saturated beyond that and this is what you can reach, then I would say dilute your equity first and don't take debt. And do that. But if you think you haven't created enough value, I would say go and create value first and then go and dilute. Otherwise you dilute very cheap. Debt should be your last resort.
Debt free is a good sleep.
Huh?
Debt free company is a good sleep.
Always, always. I hope it answers your question.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for a great and transforming session. I am sure that everyone sitting in this auditorium will definitely take something good from here. I request Professor Prakash Mahanwar, sir, for the vote of thanks.
Good evening. Should be always fresh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a great pleasure to present vote of thanks when such a kind of great lecture you have gone through. And it was really eye-opener, idea creator. And I think Big applause goes to Mr. Ahuja. Please. Ahuja sir, I really thank you for accepting our invitation.
My pleasure.
And very much I'll thank Prashant for becoming mediator for getting such a great speaker for Color Society. Can I request Dr.Girish Nagarkar to present a memento to Sri Manu Ahuja ji as a token of appreciation, and I hope we will have contacts, relations hereafter also for the Color Society. Thank you once again, Ahuja ji. Now, I would like to thank Professor A.B. Pandit, Vice Chancellor, Institute of Chemical Technology, for allowing us to hold the lecture in these premises and gracing the occasion even in very short time. Yesterday only I spoke to him, and still he sorted that he will be present for this lecture. And he also, like Prashant, he never misses the opportunity to attend this in our common memorial lecture. So I thank personally, as well as on behalf of Color Society, to Professor A.P. Pandit. And last but not the least, you all of you, generally, I should not say this, but let me be very open. For lectures, such kind of lectures nowadays, you will have to catch hold of people. Sometimes if you are giving the high tea, then somebody has to stand on the other side to push everybody inside the hall. But today it doesn't happen, because the topic itself drag you inside the hall, and that's something great. So I thank all of you, and I hope we'll have such kind of delicious lectures hereafter through our Color Society, and we'll enjoy, all of us, many more evenings. Thank you very much. Thank you once again. Thank you. Color Society members, be here, because we are now going to open up for the AGM.